Live in 3, 2, 1.
Alright guys, so we just woke up. It's 5 a.m. So, excuse me. So this is my schedule, right? You always want to make sure you have a really good schedule set up so you can run. So I just woke up, so we should be in sleepy berth. I'm gonna change myself to off duty. Use the restroom real quick. Brush my teeth. Yeah, brush my teeth, and then take Lulu out to go use the restroom as well. So, anyways, we'll be right back, and I'll show you guys how we go through this Qualcomm too. So when you log into the Qualcomm, you'll first go to add, and your driver ID is going to be your driver code. Your password is going to be the exact same thing, your driver code. Alright guys, so here's your hours of service tab. First tab I want to go through is your status. It tells you what status you're currently on right now, when you started that new duty status, and what time it is now. So we started it at 5:12. It's been about 32 minutes. So duration 32 minutes. Shows you when your last 34-hour reset was, which is on the 18th for me. So right below that, it'll show you your hours to begin, and these are going to be your recaps. So the recaps are what you're getting back the 8th day. So hours to begin, I got 0 coming back. Hours to begin in 2 days, I'm gonna have 0 coming back because I just took a 34-hour reset. It'll also show your miles, so you kind of want to keep track of how much miles you're driving. You can look right there. It'll tell you how much miles you drove that day. Now summary. So summary is pretty cool. It's kind of like a little graph. It shows you all of your clocks that you have available for the day. So your 8-hour break, your 8-hour clock is you have to take a 30-minute break before that 8 hours runs up. And that 8-hour clock starts once you go on duty, driving, anything like that. Like once you start your day, that's when your 8-hour clock starts. 11-hour driving, we can drive in 11 hours in a 14-hour period. A 14-hour clock is basically once we start our day, just like the 8-hour clock. Once we start our day, except 14 hours from them, you can't drive anymore. You can still be on duty, but you just can't drive past that 14-hour clock. All of these clocks actually have to do with, not being able to drive anymore. You can always be on duty. You can be on duty as long as you want. That has nothing to do with DOT regulations. DOT only regulates drive time, so keep that in mind. You can still be on duty if you will expire through any of these clocks. You just can't drive. Cool. And then next will be your 70-hour clock. So 70-hour clock is your on duty and drive time for an 8-day period. So 70 hours in an 8-day period. And this little graph shows you how much time you have remaining on your 70. Graph, it'll kind of just show you your day, like on our paper logs. You have to trace it out. Graph is basically just doing that. Day log, it kind of shows you what your duty status is throughout different parts of the day. It uses GPS, it tracks your location, so they always know where you're at. You see location 1 mile northwest of Layton. Yep, they know exactly where you're at. 8-day logs. Want you to fax your logs to them, you'll hit this fax button, and that's found under your 8 days. So this just kind of tells you the miles you've driven in the past 8 days. Like I said, I just did a 34-hour reset. And yeah, next will be certify. So every single morning you have to certify your logs, and that's just saying everything that you've inputted is true and accurate. and load tab. So load tab actually makes us legal with DOT. So we have to fill this out for every single load, even if we're empty. Like when we get our pre-plan, we have to drive empty to the shipper. We still have to fill this out. And that, yeah, it's like if we ever get pulled over, pulled into a DOT inspection, whatever, we need this load tab filled out. This makes us DOT legal, like on your paper logs even. Like this is all stuff we have to fill out anyways, but in the Qualcomm load tab, very important thing. Every single load you do, you have to have a load tab for. Cool, we'll go through messages, and we're just gonna skim through all the messages that there is. So you have an inbox, outbox, and compose. So inbox is all your incoming messages. I actually do have a fuel stop in here. So yeah, my next fueling location is going to be Layton, where I'm at now. And we're going to have to get fuel here as well. So yeah, we'll do that. Cool, so we're going to get fuel, whatever. But I just want to show you the macros, right? So, freeform. So you can either hit that 0 or a freeform button right here. And that's basically to just kind of communicate with your DM if there's not a set macro for it. So if you want to ask them, hey, can I drop this load at this yard? I'm going to be a day early. Can I drop this load? Any type of communication you want to have with your DM that isn't specific to your life of the load, really, you'll use a freeform for. We also use it to do our ETAs and PTAs. The format that we use for our ETAs and PTAs is going to be ETA, date and time, then we're going to do PTA, date and time, and then hours available underneath. And the reason that we do that is because that's how planners kind of keep us running. So they keep us planned based off of our PTA. So the sooner you have that in, the more time that these guys have to get you your loads and kind of keep you going. So there's a lot of different instances we'll use that freeform thing, but yep, you can either hit that macro 0 or hit the freeform button down there. Next will be your stop arrival notification and stop departure. So if you ever have multiple stops, like a lot of our paper loads, like our Costco loads, we usually get like loaded up at like a Georgia Pacific or something, and it'll have like 2 or 3 stops along the route. So when you get to your first stop, actually let me explain this a little bit better. So there's always going to be a shipper, right? So your shipper loads you up, blah blah blah. Then you have to go to you have 2 additional stops and your consignee. So the last person you deliver to is always going to be your consignee, but say the very first place you have to deliver to is going to be your stop arrival. So you hit your stop arrival, let them know, I got to my stop number 1, whatever. And it's just like, sending your arrive consignee message, but just letting them know you arrived at your first stop. Once you get unloaded there, you do your stop departure, and you just fill out, whatever the bill of lading was for that first stop. Cool, so stop arrival, stop departure, and that's just basically when you arrive at a place you're delivering to that's not the consignee, and when you depart there, to either go to your next stop or to eventually get to your consignee. Depart shipper location, so we're always going to send an arrive shipper notification first. So an arrive shipper when we get there, and when we leave, we're going to do a depart shipper location. Cool. Empty call. So whenever we get emptied, whenever we're delivering to a consignee or whatever, we'll always do this empty call. It just lets the company know that we're empty and we are available for our next load. Loaded call. This is going to be a big one whenever we are at the shipper. Whenever we get loaded, we have to do a loaded call. There's 3 things we have to do. Every single load, we have to do a loaded call, which is right here, that macro 5. A live loaded call, which is a phone call to your DM, and an hours of service load tab, which we previously went over as well. OTR support, over the road support, We use that for, if we ever have a breakdown on the side of the road or anything. We're doing our pre-trip. We have like a nail in our tire. Anything that helps us out over the road, whether it be a problem with our tractor, problem with our trailer, anything like that. OTR support is the very first person that we contact to get us some help. Arrive consignee, pretty self-explanatory whenever you arrive to your consignee. Arrive shipper, we already went through that one as well. Whenever you get to the shipper, you'll hit that. Macro 9, load confirm. We never really use this. Instead, we just reply to the pre-plan, but it's basically the exact same thing. So whenever you get a pre-plan, you respond to it, and you're basically saying yes or no if you're able to do it. And you have to give out, date, time, everything that it delivers to. And so you never really use that macro 9, because what you can do is just reply to your pre-plan. So I'll show you my pre-plan. I clean my messages, but whatever. Dispatch, same thing. If you reply to it, it's going to give you the exact same screen. Yes, no, when it delivers, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that macro 9 is basically the exact same thing. Directions request, very important. We're going to use this every single time. Even if you don't need it, still use it. The company is able to track this. If you ever want to be a mentor, they want to make sure you're actually using these as well. Build up good habits. Even if you've been there before, directions may change. Still use your directions request all the time. So directions request, macro 10, if you want to get to your shipper, consignee, or additional stops, you'll put that up here. So S for shipper, C for consignee, B for both. If you have 2 stops, 1 will be for your first stop, 2 will be for your second stop. Easy peasy. Or you can do a customer code. Every single facility has a code, and you wouldn't really use this unless you are going somewhere that's not your shipper or not your consignee. So say that there's no empty reefers at the yard. Your DM might tell you, oh, go pick up an empty reefer at this Home Depot or whatever. Here's the code to Home Depot. So then that's when you'll get directions. You put that code in there. Also good for our yards. All of our yards have codes as well. If you want directions to any of our yards, they are inside your blue book. Just put that code right there and it'll get you directions there. If directions request for a pre-plan, hit a P there. So if you ever request directions, the S, C, B, whatever up top, it's only gonna give you directions to whatever you are dispatched to. So if you aren't dispatched on it yet, you're gonna get back a message saying no directions found or whatever, or there's no load on you. I'm not too sure the message that they send because I never do it. But yeah, if you get a pre-plan real quick and you kind of want to get ahead of the game, or like right now I'm currently on this load, if I get a pre-plan during my route, if I want to know how to get to the shipper and just kind of save time, I'll put a P here and a S there. So shipper and then P for pre-plan, put it in there. Cool. Cancel out of here. Let's see what else we got. So macro 10, macro 11 we got to fill out too. We have to do these every single day. So next fuel stop, I'll actually do mine too while we're talking, because we do have to do these every single day. And what it is, it's just basically, we're not really asking like, hey, give us our next fuel stop. We're basically just letting them know what our fuel levels are, and they kind of fuel us accordingly. So some people kind of get upset that you can't pick your own fuel stops or whatever, blah blah blah. I think this is way less stress off of drivers. You don't gotta really worry about where to fuel. They kind of give it all to you. It's all stuff along your route. It's not like you're going anywhere crazy, and it's the most price efficient, best way to fuel anyway. So it is what it is. Yep, it went through. Okay, cool. Let's make sure I hit send. So yep, macro 11 every single day. Like you guys saw it earlier. I have this fuel stop at Layton. I'm here at Layton. I'm about to fuel up anyways, but still, do your next fuel stop every single day. Pre-planned load commitment, we never really use that as well. Time off request. So if you ever want time off, you'll use this macro 13, and that's just asking when you want to take time off. So for Western 11 drivers, you want to give around, the book says 7 to 10 days. Give them about 2 weeks, and be ready to be kind of flexible as well. So about 2 weeks for your time off requests. It just gives them more time to actually get you home. This company is really good about getting you guys back home as well. Just make sure you guys are sending in your time off requests with, knowing that it takes some time to actually get you back home, because you need loads to get you back home. You can't just be like, oh, I want time off tomorrow. They can't just find a load to get you there tomorrow. I mean, maybe they can, or maybe you get lucky, but if you really need time off, if you really have to be home at a specific date, make sure you guys are putting that well in advance. Western 11, 7 to 10 days, I'll say 3 weeks. 48 state drivers, I'll go 3 weeks, or even a month out in advance. The sooner the better. Repower drop, macro 14. So we use repowers a lot, and a repower is basically for whatever reason. It could be like, driver has to go home on home time, driver quit, whatever. If the load doesn't deliver for like another week, a driver will repower that load so somebody else could finish delivering it. Basically, a repower is one driver takes the load from the shipper to a yard or a set destination, and then a second driver comes, picks up that load, and continues it on to the consignee. So that's going to be a repower drop, and we use those pretty frequently because if you're running really good, you're going to get to places a day or two early. You don't really want to be sitting for 2 days. You ask to get that repowered and kind of keep rolling. Owner operator fuel stop requests, we're not owner operators, whatever. Text message, I've never seen this. I don't know why you would use this. Just send a free form. So yeah, text message never used. Daily hours recap, never used. Yep, we never use this. If anybody in the company is watching, they're like, hey, you're supposed to use that. No, I have not used it once. Dispatch earnings info agreement. This used to come back every single time you would do your empty call for CPM. On flat rate, it doesn't come back no more. So this is becoming more obsolete since everybody's on flat rate. And for CPM, it comes back automatically as well. So you don't really have to use this one, but it is a message that gets sent to you automatically if you are on CPM. Macro 19, every single time you are delivering a load the day before, about 24 hours in advance, you want to send in this macro 19. That's just basically saying that you are on time for your appointment, yes, and your order number. If you aren't on time, then of course you'll say no, and then your DM or dispatcher, night dispatch, whoever is going to have to kind of figure that out from there. But every single time, day before you deliver, macro 19. Total miles from current location to blah blah blah. I never use this. 21 never used. 22 never used. 23 never used. 24 never used. Alright, macro 25 lumper requests. So we are no touch freight here at Make Trucking. So whenever the freight needs to be touched, we'll use lumpers. So a lot of these places actually have lumpers already at their facilities. It's mainly used at like food places like Albertsons or Safeway, or people that handle food. They usually have lumpers there. And what it is, you want to first kind of get how much it's going to be, your order number, your trailer number, the stop, and the amount. So the amount's probably the most important one. So they're going to load you and they're going to be like, oh, it's going to be $200. So you'll request the $200 there. They'll put it on your EFS card and you'll write an EFS check. So lumper requests, that's how you ask for the money for the lumpers. Macro 25. Really, really important. Whenever you go on home time, you can use this macro 26, but I just use a freeform message. I now back on duty. I have found. Oops. So, yeah, I mean, we never use these macros. Alright, we secure a vehicle and inspection. Cool. I guess you could do that when you get back from home time too. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't used that. Sorry, safety, if you guys are watching this video. But yeah, I guess you could send that when you get back from home time. Maybe I'll start doing it. But yeah, I've never used a 26, never used 27. Are you endorsed hazmat driver? Kind of a waste of a macro. 28, no. Money request, non-lumper. So for money request, non-lumpers, it's anyway, that's how we kind of get money. That's not lumpers, basically. So if we have to pay for scales, if we want a trailer washout, this company pays for everything for us. So if we need paid parking or whatever, they'll reimburse us. This is how we kind of ask to get reimbursed. You also have to transfer in your receipts as well. But to get the money on your card, you have to do a money request, non-lumper. And yep, you see all this stuff: load locks, pallets, scale, tickets, additives, blah blah blah. I mean, anything and everything that you need over the road, company will pay for. And yep, this is how you get reimbursed: money request, non-lumper. OS&D, that stands for overage, shortage, and damaged. So whenever you get to, it's usually gonna be your consignee. So whenever you deliver and they're unloading you or whatever, and if there's like a shortage or something, like there were supposed to be like 5 pepperoni pizzas and they only sent 3, you'll have an OS&D claim. So OS&D, overage, shortage, or damaged product, that will be on your bill of lading as well. And most of the time, if it's overage or damaged, it'll be in the back of your trailer too. So you want to make sure you do one of these OS&D claims. And actually at the very bottom they have a phone number for you to call too. So you want to give them about 10 minutes or so, make sure that they see your message. Then you call that phone number with that extension. And yeah, cool. Blah 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 blah. Arrival time 39 and 40 we never use. 50 and 51 are big though. If there's any macros you really got to remember, it's always going to have to be a 51, a 50 and a 51. So 50 is to be legal. These are basically to be legal with DOT. So if you ever find anything on your pre-trip that's off, like if there's a light out or whatever, you always have to fill out a macro 50 for your tractor, 51 for your trailer, as well as a macro 6 and OTR support, so it can get fixed. But like if you pick up a trailer and I don't know, none of the lights work or something, or there's like a big old, somebody crashed into it or whatever, or when backing in they damaged it backing it in, you do a macro 51, and that just it covers you. Basically it's saying that when you pre-trip this, it was already damaged or whatever. So macro 50, macro 51 are very important to you guys. Basically when you're doing your pre-trip, that keeps you legal with DOT. So if you do this, your lights out on your trailer, you put a macro 51, you put OTR support, they say okay, go to this TA. If you go by a way station on your way and they pull you over and be like, hey, you got a light out, I'll be like, oh yeah, I sent in this message, this macro 51, company knows I'm on my way to get it fixed. This covers your butt. So make sure you guys are doing these 50, 51 if you guys ever find anything wrong with your tractor or trailer. Yeah, and then all these other things did nothing at all. So 61, yes, I'm returning from home time. You just, maybe it's different with different DMs, but I just give my DM a call, usually 24 hours before I'm supposed to be back, and I'll let them know, like, yeah, I'm still good to be there at the time I said, or no, I had an emergency, I need more time off, or whatever the case. But you're not really going to be sending this macro. Just give your DM a call at that point. independent contractors, we're not using Verifying ETA, we're not using View Last or whatever we're not using. So this is your Qualcomm. So it's very important to kind of get used to it, kind of, you know, make sure that you guys are, familiar with your Qualcomm and stuff like that too. So hopefully you guys like that part of the video. That's the Qualcomm. As far as, kind of running your clocks, or you want to have a set schedule, my schedule I have is I like to drive really early, so that gives me more time to drive, if that makes sense. So the only thing that kind of stops you or makes you kind of stop early is parking. Parking is huge. It's really hard to find parking like past 5 or 6 p.m. most cases. I don't like driving past 6 p.m. just because I don't really want to struggle to park. I want to park comfortably. I want to pick my spot. I don't want to have to back into a tight spot in between two tractors or whatever. Not saying that I can't, I just prefer not to. I'd rather just not risk my license, rather not risk my CDL, don't hit anything, so that's what I do anyways. Yeah, so I start my day super early, like 5 a.m., usually 3 to 5 a.m., and that gives you, your 14 hours to run. I wouldn't be parking past 7 p.m. So that's how I like to run my clocks anyways. I don't really gotta worry about parking. It's just one less thing to worry about. Yeah, for 30-minute breaks, I like to stop at rest areas just because it saves time on your 70-hour clock. Like those little 5-minute things, like they start to add up after a while. So if you keep stopping at truck stops, you gotta slow down. It's start stop, red light, green light. It takes an additional 5-10 minutes every single time compared to going to a rest area for a 30-minute break. So that's what I do. That's why it's really important to kind of keep your fridge stacked and all that stuff. Fridges, microwave, probably the most important purchases you have to make for that reason. It saves your 70-hour clock. It may seem like nothing at the time. Like I said, 5 minutes is like nothing, but it adds up. Your 70-hour clock is what you can work. It's what you can drive. So cuts into your miles. Just make sure you guys are trying to preserve it as best you can. And that's the best advice I can give you guys for having your set schedule. Start driving early, park early, but still give yourself 12 to 14 hours worth of time that you can drive and be on duty and stuff like that. Especially for 48 drivers, you can kind of make your own schedule, because this load I got 5 days to drive. So the first day, I kind of drove only 200 something miles so I could get back on schedule. So yeah, you guys saw my 34-hour resets versus recap videos. I like to run hard, take a 34-hour reset, and then keep running hard. So anyways, hopefully you guys like this video. It's going to be a long one. I know that Qualcomm took up a lot of time. So I'm not really going to show you my day. I'm not going to show you me fueling, because I'll say that for another video, because this one already took up a lot of time. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for the subscriptions. We are growing. It's our 2-month anniversary actually, and we've already over 200 subscribers. So 100 subscribers per month, I'm pretty happy about. We're doing a giveaway tomorrow. It's going to be a $125 giveaway, so make sure you guys are commenting on this video and you guys will be eligible for tomorrow's giveaway. So $125 giveaway. Don't forget. Much love. God bless you guys. Keep on trucking, guys. Let's go.